back with another video. As I said, I was gonna go live from the set. Eventually, I guess I give YouTube time to, I decided to come on right after Saturday morning cartoons and cereal. You know what I'm talking about? But this gonna be about mental health in today's time. Now, eventually, when somebody pop in here, y'all have to let me know if the wind too bad, because as y'all can see, I'm by the water. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it looked like a nice old colonial town. You know what I'm talking about? Actually, I'm ready to duck back in. But yo, uh, I've been at the job, what, a week and a half, and I'm very perceptive, right? But it seemed like I'm really spiritually sensitive to the mental health of folks. Um, Man, boy. And I work with more of a at-risk population, I guess, if that's what you want to deem it. But not just them, co-workers, like, maybe it's because I'm more evolved now and, my eyes have been open to certain things. I've, you know, gained some practical knowledge of the world around me and application. But here's what I'm noticing though, right? With Donald Trump, whatever he's doing, which I really don't feel the need to overly critique, it's affecting everybody in this sense of like anxiety, fear, or on the other side of the spectrum, there seems to be this belief that no matter how jacked up the world, the government, society gets, somehow basic necessities will always be provided for. You know how these people be funding the government month to month, rhetoric about him, freezing federal hiring and, financial subsidies and whatnot. Here, again, and I'm noticing this because I'm knowledgeable not to just, drop everything on everybody, like heaping your pearl before swamp among swine, or gauging where people are at with it and kind of spoon feed them to a certain degree. But what I'm noticing is that even though the signs are all around us that this is imploding, right, or it's going in a downward trajectory of the way it used to function and run, what I'm gauging is nobody that I personally know of, now of course on YouTube and people like mine, have any cognizant mental application of doing for self, providing for yourself, feeding for you, thinking outside the box. Everyone is mentally boxed in. Hey, what's up, Mick? What's happening with it? Oh, speaking of that, I told you I got my kit and all that, so I'll talk about that later. Um, but I'm noticing, like, I was talking to my man. He a truck driver, and he particularly goes between Pennsylvania and Carolina. My man said, when he got to Carolina, now he got some manifesto of what's on his truck. He said every time he's going to North Carolina, he's hauling nothing but gun safes. So me and him was robbing. Now white folk loading up, because he said the white man told him they're preparing for civil unrest and civil war. But what are Negroes doing? Yesterday, I guess financial benefits with Social Security came out yesterday, and there was essentially nobody at the spot where I work at. Money flowing, you know what I mean? They go and get hired, do whatever they do. But guaranteed by Monday, we'll be packed because everybody will be broke, sad. You know what I'm saying? And I've been privy to this when I was in Baltimore where, the money roll out. Yeah, let the good times roll. People want to trick and, treat their fans to drinks and they drug of choice. And then in 2, 3, 4 days, they ask me for a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? I've kind of done it to some degree, just in my active addiction. But, and this is not no fear rhetoric or nothing like that. Um, this is not no fear rhetoric. This is survival rhetoric. Like, you can't depend on nobody else to save you, yo. That's why they took out the black folk who would preach do for self or separating yourself from the system, starting your own, defending your own. You know what I mean? Everyone from that I'm privy to is either fearful, anxious, or rocked to sleep. Unable to just deal with regular stuff that life presents. You know what I mean? It's real in the battlefield. Um, On the left-hand side of things, let's say the Democratic type of people, oh, Trump's gonna do this, she's gonna do this. Like now I'm noticing if the government don't give not just people, but these corporations subsidy, these people can't survive. And they're so used to it, they can't think of breaking the umbilical cord. Like I said in the last video, you know what I'm saying? Super Bowl week coming up, what, next week? Man, this is the time when people get together at the bar, home, wherever, and they need to start planning. Yo, how are we going to survive? How are we even now? Like, okay, we'll store up some food, or we'll put extra money aside and put it in a pot. Now I know Negroes can't do that. The only time we can do it is on the left hand side of things. Like we can pitch in for a bottle at the club, or get some harlots. But anything like right, we just can't do right. And I'm saying it like almost not. I don't want to say prophetically, but spiritually. When the Bible talk about, people running in your house and stuff like that, I can see it because we already darn near hate each other now. There's no common decency among folk. Like I said, I went to I had to jump my first staff meeting, and that went left between the doctor man and my director. Blame shifting, nobody taking responsibility. Like, and these are professional people. Everybody cook. And not in no, I think I know it all, but because of the journey I walk, everybody is cooked. I don't see any fortification of anything internal, spiritual, mental, emotional that would lead me to believe the people that I'm privy to would have any semblance of striving or holding up during hard times. Like in the Depression, they held up during hard times. During the Civil War, they held up during the hard time. They banded together. This is opposite. We ready to start attacking each other. So in your personal life, especially at the workplace or wherever you may be, please protect your energy. And a lot of times I say, okay, band together, right? But then when you look at the people you're around, they're not worth banding together with. They'll actually be more of a liability than good. So it's almost like working both sides against the middle. We need to come together. But if you look at the squad you're trying to come together with, you better off probably going solo dolo, or the few people I may know. That's why I say God got to get us out of this. You know what I'm saying? At no point in time in scripture do I remember Jonah getting himself out the fish. Do I remember them liberating themselves from Egyptian bondage? You see what I'm saying? Or when they were in Assyria or any of these places. At no point were the children of Israel able to free themselves. They couldn't even beat other folks unless God anointed them to beat other folks. So even in my personal life, I'm thinking too, because I seen a video by the young Pharaoh brother, and he was talking about black power and using the dollar to, gain black power. How you gonna use somebody else's currency to liberate yourself? You know what I'm saying? It reminds me of when, Yeshua was on the earth, and they was thinking it's gonna be a physical kingdom. He like, nah, first it's a spiritual kingdom. Because in y'all situation, y'all can't physically beat these people. Even if you're stronger, you still won't be able to do it because you're not anointed to do it. Like even in my personal life with certain personal endeavors and whatnot, I'm starting to believe I have to be anointed to do certain things. Case in point, okay, I work in like the mental health, substance abuse treatment field, right? And of the providers, oh my man, bro, these people ain't hitting on nothing, but they making money hand over fist among the most vulnerable of society. And I be having a real issue with it because it's triggering me because I've been through stuff like that. That's why I had to muscle up in the paint to get free of these people, because they actually breed complicity on them and they take all your money. Or they might give you somewhere to stay, but they treat you bad. Or they won't help you to strive forward. That's why in my personal endeavors, I try to promote empowerment. But of course you can't empower it, and it's a process. It probably took me over a decade. But I try to, moving forward, moving past your traumas. Because if you don't move past it, you're going to stay in it. And I hold groups and things of that nature. And a lot of times, I'm led by the Spirit, but sometimes I let people ramble off topic. And then I'll finally interject. And I'd be like, sis, you just went on 45 minutes straight about what other people have done to you. One, you never acknowledged the part you played in it. But you're so, and I get it, in the space of what people have done to you, that you can't mentally shift to figure out what to do for yourself. And because the trauma and the toxicity is such, I don't think at this point in time, you're able to move on from it until it gets super bad. This is like I've done this before, whereas though the pain was so great, yeah, I know I need to let it go, but if I let go of this pain, I won't have nothing. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to figure out how to push that. You know what I'm saying? Granted, you can't make nobody do nothing. But one, these entities are feeding on the fact you're broken. And you're so broken, you can't muster up enough muster to go towards a path of healing. And healing is hard work. Trust and believe it. And then there's levels to healing. You understand me? Just like I'm ready to go on this endeavor with some practical smoking aids and whatnot, prayer and fasting, to finally rid myself of nicotine habit. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go through some pain. It's just which pain you choose to take on. And if I take on this pain, here's the benefit of it. A further wrestling against the flesh and the spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's of absolutely no benefit to me. But I've done it so long, it's just easier to keep doing it. And then you might kick the can down the road, then wake up one day and next thing you know, your doctor telling you something crazy. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to go through all that. You know what I mean? So we all have our particular struggles and fights. I just acknowledge mine and get hit upside the head a whole bunch of times. But I don't stop fighting back. You gotta keep fighting back. You know what I'm saying? But I can just feel the mental health of society and people. We had another plane crash in Philadelphia. Here's what's so crazy, right? We had the one in DC, the one in Philly, and I think another, if I'm not mistaken. But these super spectacular national news events are happening so fast, we'll totally forget. Last year, they couldn't stop people from running into the bridges and knocking them down. That seems like an afterthought now. Or the year before that, they couldn't keep no trains on the tracks. Like, I could make the argument that train derailment that I think was in Ohio, the same place where they had shot a movie about the very same thing, that's an afterthought. You know what I mean? This is insane. It's like in these very sporadic, spaced out places, they're waging domestic terrorism, if I may use that word. My partner, now where I live at, it's a real big, chicken processing is real big in this particular geographical area, right? So I hollered at my partner about 2 days ago. He works in the industry. He tell me his plant is working 7 days a week because the plant in South Carolina burned up all of a sudden. So now these people are pumping chicken 7 days a week with no time off, just to keep up demand of rising prices, coupled with the fact, suppose we got some type of bird flu or something that's affecting the birds, and now 6 eggs is $20. I'm trying to figure out how to get some land so I can start reproducing chicken and bees and whatnot. Now I got access to land that's, older family members. They may change their mind, but I want my own though. But back to what I was saying about the area, and the industry that I work in. These people making money hand over fist. So I'm trying to figure out how to start my own sober living home without charging people out the yin yang and kicking them out if they ain't got no money. If the man been using for 15 years, right? He got 90 days to find a job, and then as soon as the 91st day hit, now I'm charging him $700 a month rent to live in a room with 3 to 4 other people. Where's the love? Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Everything is about a dollar bill. And I've been on this: when money trumps the mission statement going out the window, or it's an afterthought, or it's just something you hop on social media or, in front of some civic folk and talk about, but it don't operate in application. And I'm so thankful I got it together when I did, because it's almost like, here's what happened. Either become dependent on these people and you're subject to whatever they want to do for financial purposes. You break away from the people and try to muscle up on your own and hope you can get it together without relapsing. Or what happens, they pick up, and we see this in the church and a lot of organizations, whereas though what'll happen is they'll perceive your personality and think you're something like them, and then they'll bring you up through the ranks. Had a conversation with my main man, Blue Hundo, right here, went back to the set, that same institution in Baltimore that we both, are alumni of and so on and so forth. He got a partner who had to, tighten up on his backstroke, so he go holler at him. So he called me. So I'm like, yo, what was the temperature of the place? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Now, mind you, they didn't really fool with him, not because he was a douchebag or nothing like that, but because he had his own movement. He started his own clothing line while he was in rehab. He found his own job, like he had his own campaign. So a lot of the cultural, as I like to call them, shotgun Bob from Life Negroes, kind of dry hate on him, or secretly wish on the man downfall. But he said when he showed up there this time, after being gone for some time, everybody get to acting like they love him, and he said he did raise, because a lot of time it's just your presence, right? And then he was talking to his man. Now we talk on Facebook, but I don't personally know him, but we talk about the same stuff. So me and him cool, right? So they were sharing, one of my main gripes, and I understand when you in someone else's institution, a lot of times the Negroes who go up the ranks, they're able to go up the ranks not because of their merit, but because of the perception of their person. Not like they won't buck the system, or you know what I'm saying, and give the illusion of inclusion, right? So when my man Blue Hundo's man was sharing with him, uh, he was basically sharing the same rhetoric. Now he's on the inside, basically saying, "Yo, we got brothers that we show enough tight with in various departments in this institution: administration, the board, outreach, transportation, the gambit, right? But Negroes, as a grouping in there, can't get it together. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Hispanics have solidified themselves in the institution, and then among themselves, they're creating other institutions outside of the plantation construct amongst themselves and in Florida. But we can't get it together. And I believe I understand why spiritually, but practically there's nothing stopping us other than competitive jealousies, egos, so on and so forth. I guess like Jeremiah, we just have to bear up and watch this take place and happen. And it hurts my heart because I got love for homies. You know what I'm saying? I might not fool with you like that, but I don't take no joy in seeing you destitute, because that'll affect your family, your community, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be bad. I'll be the bearer of bad. I'm going to be the heralded messenger. This is going to be bad. Not just because the circumstances will be bad, but the response of the people and how they've been morally degraded and spiritually bankrupted in that situation will be bad. My goodness gracious. I'm seeing so much rhetoric online about these various sisters, setting dudes up and unaliving them, and you know what I'm saying? Like the modern woman just isn't the quote unquote modern woman now. She's now become a soul harvester. Normally they just do it through the court system or something to that effect, put a bad bone on you, tear your name up. Now they getting you lined up and feel good about it with no remorse. I seen that one sister, the two sisters that I think the dude was out in Vegas, and lined him up in the room and then bounced. I guess they just got sentenced to 10 years. And they, were remorseful in a matter of fact, like, we're real sorry about, what I mean? It's almost like men here have no value, especially if you put yourself in a position to devalue yourself by engaging in, prostitution. You in no man's land at this point. And they taught women to hate men. And on top of that, they'll hate the righteous man, but they darn sure hate the man who's unknowledgeable or is willing to pay for sex. We got to get out of this place, because if not, we won't survive. Like, let's say Babylon continues on with the continue on. We're on our last legs as a grouping of people now. The only thing upholding us is the system or our ability as individuals to, work for this particular company or this position in government. As we see, I don't know how true it is, but they said Trump gave federal workers the buyout. I know a few people who personally got letters saying, you got 7 months or we'll buy you out now, wherever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? What do those people do? Now, typically, any other nation sees the writing on the wall and starts preparing before it get up on them. We see how the government's funded the month to month, or they falling short on the budget here, in Maryland, we got a $3 billion budget shortfall after having a $3 billion surplus 2 years ago. But as I like to call him, Governor Wes Moore, Obama Jr., I've been at work a week and a half, and I'm still not in the system. And this is the state of Maryland, whether office in Baltimore or Napa. And this is how functional the government runs here in Maryland. Call unemployment. They said the website just crashing. Then if you call them, or, hop on the website, then if you call them, you know what I'm saying, you might be on hold 6 hours because the people you're calling are working from home and doing whatever and this, that, and the third, and they still getting paid. So I can see why Trump would then come in and then start auditing these various government agencies. And in Maryland, I don't know how it is everywhere else, corruption and grant writing fraud and medical insurance fraud is standard operating business. I'll be the first to tell you, I've been privy to it personally. I ain't talking about what somebody else told me. I'm talking about what I've seen personally in numerous different areas. That's the new hustle. When I was in Baltimore, I became privy to ex-dope dealers who got out the dope game and started recovery homes, stacking 20, 25 people in a 3-bedroom row home and in the basement, any room they can put them, tell them be grateful, and then mandate with some other person they got some business dealings with that they go here for 1900 years and get a whole bunch of treatment. But then when it's over and the insurance run out, they ain't got the time to find their own job. And then they'll tell you, well, if you don't figure it out, even though we're locking up all your time, we'll just take you down to Code Blue, which is the homeless shelter. My man, I did a group yesterday, and my man, he from Delaware. Delaware, Wilmington, right? Matt, real cool, old head, right? Whereas though he tell me about this movie called what was it called? The Medical Broker, The Treatment Broker or something. But it's based, and it said the movie is based on true events. Where dude, go to the inner city and you'll pay people to go into treatment and rehab. Come out, relapse on purpose. They meet with you, and then they send you back in there. And this is the financial, whatever you want to call it, that Babylon is built on. How a nation, how much debt we in, let's say $30 trillion, got the nerve to give me a credit score. How they say the hypocrisy of democracy. Without leaning towards the Most High, and I've done this, whereas though you'll scramble your brain trying to figure out stuff that don't make no sense. Like I said, like, okay, the rather a women or harlots telling you what a real man is. How would you even know that? What's crazy now is people have become gurus in a particular niche or industry that they have no functional practice in their real lives. You have single people telling you who to marry. You have people attempting to tell you how to fight the system that are also ingratiated into the same system. That's like me being on drugs and then telling somebody how to stay clean. Well, I got a beer can in my hand and I got a following. Sister Alicia, she had sent me this thing of this dude who's saying he Yeshua. Now, knowing the word talk about when they say he is there or he's in the desert or he over here, don't believe him. But this man got a following and ain't done not near miracle. And he ain't ducking no bullets. But you Yeshua on a podcast. See, I'm ready to go crazy now, just talking about it. It's so much crazy, wacky, wild, Kool-Aid style. I done just disbanded all. I stay knowledgeable in a general sense, but I'm keeping my head to the hills will come my help in the scripture and trying to work out my salvation with fear and trembling. That's it, that's all. Because even if I got all these guns in the world, all the food in the world, that still don't stop, you know what I'm saying? That still ain't gonna save me if the military come and want to take my house for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm understanding to a greater level and degree that this whole game is spiritual. For somebody who's well versed in what I know, the stuff that's going on now don't even affect me none, other than hopping on here and talking about it. And, checking the temperature of society when I'm out and about in it. But now I don't care. We're talking about, let's say, at least what they're trying to heap in fear, impending doom. And I'm sitting by the water, whistling Dixie, talking to y'all. And I'm well versed in not having much. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not tied to this world per se. Even in my own personal pursuits and endeavors. Like with me starting a sober recovery home, which was twofold. Provide a need and compassion to the homies in the struggle and sisters, right? And simultaneously, I'm still one of them brothers who want to stick it to the man. Not directly, but by default, because he's doing something so different that's yielding results. What the hell are y'all doing over there? Here's another one, right? So me and my supervisor, we know similar people, we were talking. And she had previously, before she came out, so I guess the path was laid out. Because I'd actually, a while back, ran into her at Walmart. And this is way before I even applied for the job. And I'm like, oh, I recognize, but we can't figure out where we know each other from. But she was like, oh, yeah, I seen your video. Boy, you funny. And from what I heard, you ain't lied about nothing. Now, this institution I'm talking about, they sent me a cease and desist letter, which was probably a blessing aside to get me to divert my focus to the actual task at hand. But again, they so triggering. Or it's like one of these brothers who perpetrate a fraud, and they got everybody believing he this, that, and the third, but you know him, and then you want to lean on him every time you see him, because he leading folk astray and all this shit. My old job, now this is common knowledge in the town where I live at, is actively engaged in essentially human trafficking of clients from the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area to here to Cambridge, Maryland, where I live at now, which is approximately 3.5 to 4 hours. And the clients are thinking that they're going to a lesser level of care, get shipped 3.5 to 4 hours here in Maryland to the north, and then get found out they back in what they call it, high intensive inpatient treatment once again. And then they're asking what's going on. But here's what they do. Now, mine, depending on your situation, you ain't really got no legs stand on financially. Maybe your family situation is what it is, right? So whereas though these people are there saying, well, shucks, you here, what you gonna do? What, you just gonna leave and then try to figure out how to get back home 3.5 to 4 hours away out of state? I personally know, and they gave me personal email, which against the law, right? Whatever. I ain't gonna post it. Of people quitting behind this, because now they're getting so super spectacular. They said, I could put up with a whole lot, but this here, oh, hell no. I'm gone. Now they got folk leaving. But they don't care, because as long as they can keep pumping clients through that, they'll just find, now they just plugging anybody in there. Me and my supervisor were talking, they hiring people who actually on drugs to work at a treatment center. Clients jumping the fence, going way to the beach, which is an hour and a half away, sleeping with the staff member. That joint almost like Maryland DOC, and can't get nobody to reprimand the dude, look into him, nothing. Like I said, the dude over top of him is under active investigation for trafficking Suboxone outside of the institution. Like he on the street slanging on his own. But ain't nobody going to jail. Yo, you got to figure back to the mental health piece. You go to work at a substance abuse / treatment center, right? To help other people with their mental health. And then the staff ends up having nervous breakdowns and relapsing on. How I go to work for a treatment center and the work culture is so toxic, I go back to using drugs at work. And this has happened repeatedly. Once I came privy to certain, and then the background information, I look around and said, oh my damn, who is I'm around? Because I heard a lot of rhetoric about, like, let's say the modern woman, but I wasn't dealing with them. It's just information I'm getting through YouTube. Witchcraft, tarot card reading, never been around it. Not to my knowledge. And then was placed in the environment of it. And I think that's how I was able to navigate it, very seamlessly. That was jamming everybody else out. But the witchcraft woman still worked there. It's sad, yo. And that's what breaks my heart, where, like when, like in Louisiana where they had these natural disasters, like the human, like people come in, neighbors come in and help each other, save each other, share, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if we even built like that no more. Maybe in communities, you know what I'm saying? I'm small town. We'll put our different aside and do it like when a disaster happens. But we can't do it before, like the Busta Rhymes album, before disaster strikes. And that's the thing that's really kind of hurt my little heart. Because I see people whom I know, not that I'm sure or nothing, like I don't know nothing, but I don't think they built to make it. And then I gotta have some more mental funerals in my head for people who are still walking earth. You know what I'm saying? Let them folk, really go ahead. Now they'll play with it for a period of time, like how they fund the government and then end up doing it like right before the deadline. But one of these times, it's gonna go past the deadline and they ain't gonna do it. Man, I matter how these sisters and them gonna act who depending on, these various, financial services and so on and so forth. And that got them feeling like they don't need no man. Here's the tripping part about that. They say they don't need no man, right? But then routinely get smashed by men who they then complain about. But then blame the decent brother who ain't got nothing to do with all your trauma. Blaming you for stuff you ain't got nothing to do with. I think I read in Psalms a couple of days ago where David was saying they blame me or they asking me questions I ain't got the answer to. Or they blame me for stuff I had no part in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful I went, and I wonder why my life was so, stuff don't make no sense and not understand it. And I always had a vision of the future to some degree, but not necessarily the nuances in real reality like I'm living it now. So now I'm thankful he been broke me out of casual sex. Because now to that, from what I see, this is dangerous. Then they use your goodness against you, which will play with you. I know a bunch of brothers who have got railroaded by, women or whatever the case may be, and are seldom for themselves, and they can't overcome it. It'll knock their confidence. They just can't, regenerate and get back on the horse. You know what I'm saying? It's like Babylon is siphoning people's souls on the slow cook tip. You know what I mean? That's why I'm super protective. Like when I was at the staff meeting and the woman brought up us mingling. Now we in separate buildings, right? So I'm trying to figure out, you talk about we don't mingle with y'all, but how am I mingle with y'all during work hours when my work is here at this building? So I'm supposed to leave the building where I'm at on work hour and come talk to you about nothing. And then if it ain't work related, you just want me to stop in, that ain't finna happen. Cause I got other responsibilities. I don't feel like mingling. You know what I'm saying? Unless about something purposeful, business, something to that effect. Not the chit chat can go. You know what I'm saying? And it's probably all that chit chat that got y'all in here beefing, but we can't find out the epicenter of it. But I ain't say all that. I'm thinking that in my head though. You know what I'm saying? Just because you have a professional or in a professional capacity, don't mean, and I've been on this, don't mean you operate professionally as part of who you are. Now I got my own particular feng shui personality getting you, but I'm very stickler for how I conduct myself wherever my feet at. You know what I'm saying? That was actually the catalyst that led to me being, hired, as a subsidiary of the state of Maryland, because my reputation preceded me. Everybody know I made videos, and everybody know I'm telling the truth. And I think they admire the fact I was bold enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't do that for ego purposes. I did that for right purposes, for awareness purposes. Seemed like I ain't getting nowhere, and I was a little vexed about that. Just like in the word where it say, like, envy not the wicked, seemingly they're prospering in their way. The mind is trafficking. Essentially, I can make the argument in a court of law under the guise of medical help. That man is now, and it's probably entities over top of him, but he the only person I know, as far as face-wise. They're now essentially human trafficking drug addicts across state lines. Where are the feds at? Speaking of feds, oh yeah, we got the whole ICE immigration stuff. So they had sent out a email through the state of Maryland email website, whatever you want to call it, about if ICE approach us, don't let them in the building, or here's what you say, and this, that, and the third. Now I've heard, in different areas, in the geographic that ICE have been doing, raids, I guess, or checks or whatever you want to call it. Almost symbolic of back in Nazi Germany when you say papers, please. You know what I mean? But again, it don't make no sense. You let the people. So how do you have people? Here's another one, right? That'll mess with your mental health. I'm here illegally, but I got a job, bank account, home. How? And now all of a sudden, we gotta get the legals out of here. From my understanding, the vast majority ain't like committing crimes and doing that's the third and whoop. I would like to believe the people they round up ain't doing none of that. But the people who taking over communities and apartment buildings, they probably allowed to flourish to help contribute to the civil unrest that I believe they're setting the social climate to engage. Setting up the chess pieces. You know what I'm saying? They just came up with that movie. What was that, last year? Civil War. Message. They tell you this stuff they just put it in entertainment form, so you think it's entertainment. They actually really showing you what they plan on doing. But again, we take it for light, for the most part. Like my partner said, he's shipping nothing but gun safes to North Carolina. So what do you put in gun safes? Guns. White folk getting prepared. You know what I'm saying? Negroes still arguing about Trump. Again, this is what plagues me about me, and I get it. But at the same time, I don't get it. For the DLs and the Ricky Smileys, okay, all this is going, let's take what you're saying is true. We're going back on the plantation and all the black people going to get fired from federal jobs and all this, that, and the third, right? What do we do? What is the solution? Continue to cry and complain? And it always mystified me, even when I was younger. Okay, black people got this issue, right? Now, I understand spiritually we're in captivity, so we probably can't do it anyway. But before I knew all that, I'm like, yo, why every time black people got an issue with black people or the man, why they got to go to the man who's the same one who's creating the situation you complain about? Why don't we fix our own problems? Like the town I grew up in, Eastern Maryland, supposedly between us and some town in South Carolina, are supposed to be neck and neck as far as like the oldest black neighborhoods in America, right? So now it's all Hispanic. What a slap in the face, but whatever. Then I had the fakey cake dude I know from treatment in Baltimore. He from the town too, and he lives in this area. So he like, all the Hispanics taking all the homes. He crying and complaining about it. He, advocating for Kamala, right? But I'm like, yo, she's in charge of that now. The same thing you're arguing about is the same thing the person you're advocating has contributed to. Make it make sense, cuz. Here it is. At least they ain't Trump. We all know that, but whatever, right? So they complain about, that particular thing or whatever. But then I had somebody reach out to me because I'm really about this head. Like, I've never been like an idol. Like, I don't care about him being the congressperson of the town. I don't care. I'll see another human being, right? So they'll try to like elicit me to do like the soldier work, but they won't equip me to do the soldier work. Like somebody will start something, try to send you in there because they know where your heart at, but they stay far removed from it. And then hate on you when you're come. But anyway, so he was like, yeah, we went to the town and tried to buy these properties back from the town. But the town who sold the properties to the Hispanic. I said, I got a better idea, bro. I said, how about now? Mind you, I went to school. I knew at least 2 or 3 of my classmates, Negroes, who are probably borderline millionaires, if not millionaires by this point, right? Why don't you go holler at these folk that we went to school with, get the money and buy the house under an investment or whatever, you know what I'm saying, da-da-da. He was like, yeah, but they sold out. I said, there it is. Yeah. And these same individuals are ingratiated to the Talbot County system, allowed to operate. And I don't want to say allowed to operate, but they in bed with them people. No different than, let's say, a Puff Daddy or somebody. Yeah, he got all this money. But he got all this money because he exhibits traits that white folk like. So they'll give him these corporate deals and so on and so forth. But as soon as it's time over with, or he bucked the system, they render him unto nothing. It's not like a lot of times, or like the black people we see, let's say LeBrons or whatever, they got corporate money. It's not like they got money because they have a product or service that they're going direct to the consumer with. They might build it up and then corporate spot, and that take them to the next level. But they're not going person to person or what they say, direct to seller or direct to buyer. They're propped up by corporate money. That's why if they go too far, try to buy something they don't want them to buy or whatever. Like when they said Jay Prince, who was that? Jay Prince, Suge, Irv Gotti, and I think Dame Dash. They tried to get together and start their own distribution label. Had they done that, that would have X'd out, or carved out a market for, I guess, the other nation to do it. So next thing you know, the feds raid them. But I get it, we in captivity. We can't really, everybody profits off of us, but we can't own them. We play all the basketball in the world, can't own a league. You know what I'm saying? We make all the greatest music in the world, can't own a record label. I don't even think it's even law. Like, I don't even think legally we can even own a gas station at this point. That's all like the Indians and the Arabs and all that. You know what I'm saying? Got all this money, own nothing, and are less powerful than we was in the 60s. That's why they were so hell-bent on breaking up those black organizations that were preaching unity and destroying the family structure. Now we're trying to accomplish stuff without black unity and without the black family. And if we could accomplish it with that, we wouldn't want it. Because now we're so mentally skewed that if black, let's say, what would I word it? Freedom or empowerment. Let's use black empowerment. If black empowerment requires us to unify and reestablish the black family, we wouldn't even want empowerment. We'd rather stay where we at and complain about Trump and this, that, and the third. Now, granted, here's a part I bring up, right, which I don't think most people grasp. The country been broke anyway. So eventually this stuff is getting cut anyway. It's just when they do it. Now, he might be the blame for it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, again, here in Maryland, we just had a $2 billion or $3 billion surplus. Now, in 2 years, we done went negative $6 billion. We ate up the 3. We was what they say, in the black, I guess. Now we're down there 3 in the red in less than 2 years by the man that they voted in. But nobody's, from what I'm saying, nobody blames Westmore. It just is what it is. You see what I'm saying? It's just a mental, I don't even know what you want to call it. I need to start going to the source to start finding more accurate descriptive words to describe this. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, the talk of Obama, right? The first black president and whatever. I seen something. They talking about he cheating with one of them white women off one of them TV sitcoms. I think Michelle Amanda, but I digress. But what did Obama give black people or do or how did he make our plight better? He actually signed what was that? The blue law that made it that it's harder to, when police unallow black. He did that, you know what I'm saying? He went over there with Gaddafi when he tried to start a African currency backed on gold. But the only 2 things that he really hung his hat on, sweet marriage and that universal health care bill, which now all these entities are using to make billions of dollars. But your health premium, it's so crazy. Like my cousin told me, this was a while back. They charge you to ride an ambulance. Isn't that a civic service? This is where, I haven't heard this term used in a while, but we're in dry austerity measures. Austerity means your fees and prices go up while the level of your services go down. So you go to the hospital, you get an itemized invoice or your insurance bill or whatever the case may be. They might charge you $200 for saline, which is essentially distilled water, ain't it? That's no different than going to the theme park and paying $10 for a can of soda. You here, you got to deal with it, so you're going to pay the price or go without. Well, it's sometimes I feel like I'm in an implanted movie. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, yo. Now, I can't see if anybody, I see about 10 people here, man, shout out to y'all. I can't see if I got any comments, though. That's crazy. But whatever, man. But, I'm going to sum all this up, yo. Please, I implore you, if you got to cut people, I don't care how long you've known them, do it. Do it. If they stagnant and they ain't trying to move forward, or as I like to call it, to struggle forward, there's going to be a chasm between you and them. And they'll start, I was thinking about this last night, because I don't really have people, like, really personally privy in my personal life. And I do, like my man Rick called me today, my man Blue Hundo. But these probably the only 2 people I know outside anybody related, and a few people who I've linked with through this channel, right? But I know them in personal, real life, for a period of time. They have my personal phone number. But let's say about 2 years ago, I had 2 people, female that I used to work with, and my right-hand man homeboy I talked about on here, DC Mo. And I literally watched these people transform spiritually in front of my very eyes, to the point where I had no choice but to cut them off, because whatever was, okay, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but whatever they were doing or couldn't address or whatever was able to hack them in an attempt to hinder or distract me from me striving forward. And I said, God darn. Like I thought I found my tribe, you know what I'm saying? But I went on ahead and did, I gave him some grace. I gave him a whole lot of grace. Then I clearly explained, yo, don't do this. I'm willing to help you with this, but you got to do this. You know what I'm saying? Over a period of time, I done showed my word is true and in application, I got your back. But we gonna have to move forward here. Because what's happening is you're starting to hold me up. So don't call me complaining. We can talk about it, but then we're gonna start talking about what we can do to solve the problem. Because if we ain't solving the problem, I'm gonna have to keep listening to you complain about the same stuff you don't want to break out of. And it's making my brain hurt and it's irritating my spirit, yo. Because I'm not in the business of being in situations that I can't solve. And let's say I can't solve it, then I just bear up under it, grin and bear it. But I'm done talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know of any like circumstantial situation I actually beat. I just outlasted it. I guess that's where the long suffering comes into play. You know what I'm saying? But on fold now, man, I wasn't hurt because I've been deeply hurt. So even if I was hurt, it don't seem like hurt based on the super spectacular stuff I've been through. But it just felt like it was disappointing because I had love for these people. You understand me? I wanted to see them shine. With healthy, boundaries and so on. I wanted to see them, get to that next level or gain that new skill or get that new blessing or, you know what I'm saying? And I prayed for them last night, even like I prayed for my child's mother. I done broke out of whatever, weapon form it don't profit. I just feel bad for her. Because if I was internally inside these people, I could only imagine the mental torture that they go through. I went through mental torture, been where, you get by yourself and damn, yo, I can't get on drugs. Darn, yo, I can't keep no job. Darn, yo, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got no leg to stand on. Darn, yo, you know what I'm saying? Deal with that and still push forward. And let that voice keep whispering to you what is true, but you're doing something opposite of what it's telling you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can win this fight, but I can't not punch. You see what I'm saying? And here's the way my situation set up. I don't need to land every punch. But each punch I land puts me on a new level. Like, I don't need everything to work. Just like with this new job, right? Like, I went through solar, I told you, I went to solar school, CDL, tried other, related industries and other geographical places that didn't work out, wasn't feeling it, whatever the case may be. I don't need everything to work. But the one thing that do work put me on another level. And on that note, y'all, I'ma holler at y'all. Yo, protect your six out here. One love, baby. Ooh,